You know what it is, black and snurdy, black and snurdy, black and snurdy, black and snurdy.
You know who it is, black and snurdy, black and snurdy, black and snurdy, black and snurdy.
Odie, Maurice, Odie, Maurice.
Maurice, Odie, Maurice, Odie.
Black and snurdy, black and snurdy.
Black and snurdy, black and snurdy.
Hey, oh.
Yes, Mo?
Are you ready?
Let's go!
Black and snurdy, black and snurdy, black and snurdy, black and snurdy. It's the Black and Snurdy podcast with Odie and Maurice.
Sorry, I was looking at you mouthing the lyrics. I was watching you, and the funny thing is, there was a part of me I was like, I bet you she'll mouth all of the lyrics up until the announcer comes on, and then that's when you immediately stopped.
I love the lyrics. It's my favorite time of the day when we get to listen to our theme song because I really love it.
That's true. That's true. Welcome to the Black and Snurdy podcast. Guess what? The S stands for whatever you want it to be. It could be sexy. It could be special. It could be smart. It could be anything. No, somebody, honestly, okay, so sorry.
What?
A little bit of context. Sorry, Odie, I didn't have this conversation beforehand. One of my friends started referring to their kids in their classroom as snurds based off the strength of our podcast.
How old are these kids?
They're like in elementary school, and she said that the S stands for smart.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, my word that I created, snurds,
Okay.
is sexy nerds, but I'm sure, iterations will come. But in this house.
Okay, fair enough. I thought you'd be flattered that people are starting to use it.
I'm super flattered. Please let her know to send me the copyright.
Oh, wow.
Royalties. Because if people start using this and then they're like, oh yeah, I got that from my teacher, I'm gonna be like, excuse me.
Fair enough.
What was that thing? I feel like we were watching something recently, and there was like a cartoon or something, and one of the characters kept making up like phrases. Oh, you know what?
What was it?
It was Will and Grace.
Yeah, you know that classic American cartoon show, Will and Grace.
Because you know what it is? Jack. He was in the gym with Will, and he was like, fork it or something like that, or trying to pump him up. And then after he said it, he heard somebody else say it, and he was like, that's my term. And they were like, I've been using this term since 93. It just came into my head, and I feel very much like Jack right now.
Okay.
Do not use my word unless you're going to credit me.
Well, shout out to my friend who...
But no, I want to say thank you to your friend for appreciating the genius that is Snurd, because I love it. And I feel like, yes, teach your children that they are smart nerds, they are special nerds, they are spunky nerds.
And we're sassy nerds and sexy nerds.
Sassy, well, they're children, so they're not sexy.
No, I said we are.
I know, I'm talking about...
The kids,
The kids, yes.
Yeah, teach them well. Let them lead the way.
Yes. But would you like to let them know who you are?
I was actually just about to ask you if you wanted to let them know who you are first.
Well, I got there first.
So. All right, so yeah, I am, of course, Maurice, a.k.a. The Hype.
Is that your AKA now?
Yeah, my AKA is the cutest licorice, also known as The Hype, but I don't want to...
I feel like you keep adding on acronyms or
I don't...
adjectives or whatever. You keep adding things on to this.
Why not?
It's going to be a mile long by the end of the year.
At the very least, there's going to be at least two things that I want people to say. Maurice is kawaii as fuck. He's the cutest licorice, and he is the hype. Okay, that's all. If you ever associate anything with me, it's that I am the cutest licorice. I'm the cutest person in my family. Sorry, Aunt Linda, but it's true. It's me. I am kawaii as fuck because that's my total brand. Kawaii. And then, of course, I'm the hype because there's nobody they say don't believe the hype or do you believe your own hype? I can't believe my own hype because I am the hype. So I'm Maurice. And then who are you?
Hyper. So sure. Yes. That is for you to decide, and I will, call you by your name.
Thank you.
And hello, friends. Hello, friends. I am Odie, your co-host. I'm not going to have a list of nicknames that you can call me.
Don't worry. By the end of this
That is
podcast, we're going to find some nicknames for you.
My nickname's already Odie, so I really don't.
Right, exactly.
much
But that's
more.
what people refer to you as. So we
That's
need to
OD.
give you some actual additional code names.
I literally have a million nicknames.
Okay. What are name two?
I don't want to go through them.
All right, fine.
Because
Fair
then
enough.
people are going to start shouting them out at me. They always are trying to create new nicknames. They never can because there's not. I mean, when you hear obviously, you know that my first name is Odochi.
Of course.
And because of that, people have been trying to come up with nicknames for me throughout my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm into nicknames. I think they're cool. I like making nicknames for people. But it just is like, you guys are not going to get, like, there's not that many names you can come out of Odochi. Like, Odie is obviously the first one.
I call you O every now and then.
Like, there's not that many, and people will always try.
What about Sierra? Welcome to the Black and Snurdy podcast. Thank you for listening. Why don't we instead of just focusing on this bullshit, why don't we just dive right into a little bit of some classic pop culture?
Every
so
time
funny.
I hear that now, I'm just like, it takes me a second to recognize like what I'm actually saying.
Mm-hmm.
But I still love it, honestly. I'm not going to lie.
Honestly, if I can get you the giggle by half of these drops, then I will have done my job.
You know what? And it is hard for me to giggle. Although, well, it's not really hard for me to giggle, but sometimes
Yeah.
to outwardly giggle, it does take some work.
Yeah, of course, of course. So, what's going on in the realm of pop culture today?
So many things. So many things have been happening.
Should we start with like the sort of more somber stuff?
Okay, we could do sad and move forward.
Yeah.
Do we have any drops for? We should get like. Oh, you know what we should do? I feel like.
How do I say goodbye?
Yes.
We should actually.
Yes.
Hold on. You know what? Give me a quick second, but just set this up real quick. I'm gonna make it the sort of betting music, but please just set it up, please.
Well, unfortunately, when we have to say goodbye, so long, farewell to people that we know and love, even though they are celebrities and we may have never met them, so many of them have left such an impact on our lives that it really is hard to say goodbye, especially because I feel like I feel like as a lot of these celebrities are passing away, so many of them are like major parts of our childhood in some way, like they were very distinct times. So we just want to recognize them and say, we love you. Thank you for what you gave us, and, send our love out to all their families and friends and people that knew them. So
Yeah.
do I still need to have filler talk, or are we segueing? Are we popping bottles? What's going on?
No. No, like we're gonna.
I could talk some more about
I
death
wanted.
if you would like.
I wanted to get there, but I wanted to make sure that it's coming through. Can you hear anything? There we go. So
Yes.
yeah,
Are we gonna have to pitch this up?
Probably should do this in the back end. Anyhow, just
All right. So this is what it's like when you're making your own podcast.
Actually, you know what?
Okay?
No, fuck it. Let's do it. Let's do it because this is a somber moment. If anybody wants to come after us because we...
Please don't,
Yeah, exactly.
because we're being very somber, and we also love your music so much.
Of course. I got the instrumental version.
Amazing. Even better.
Yes, so...
Well, as this instrumental plays, let us all raise our glasses and our wands in honor of one Suzanne Douglas from Parenthood.
She played the mom, right?
She was the mom in Parenthood, the dope ass lawyer, mom,
holding
wife,
it down,
in having this beautiful brownstone in Manhattan with Robert Townsend.
Dealing with Robert Townsend's friends, who
his friends
seemingly kept changing every like 3 seasons. It was like the big dude, and then it was Dwayne.
But I feel like that big dude was there for, I forgot his name, he was there for a long time.
Faison Love.
He was there the whole time.
No, he wasn't there the whole time. I feel like in the later years they got Dwayne from Dwayne Wayne
Martin?
Dwayne Martin, who was in
Tisha Campbell's husband?
No,
ex-husband?
the sidekick.
You're talking about
who was in One-on-One.
Oh, we're gonna have to look that up. But
yeah, we are.
Either way, and most recently, if you had saw When They See Us, it's When They See Us.
Yes.
She played I believe Kevin's mother.
Was.
I personally did not watch that movie because it's still extremely traumatic, so I can't really do it. But
of course,
I know that Ava DuVernay gave her such lovely had lovely words for her when she passed, and then she passed at 64. I believe it was from cancer, but she died with her family around her, which I guess that's what we could all ask.
God called her home.
And then Biz Markie passed. Unfortunately, he was only 57 years old, which makes me really sad because I feel like so many of the rappers and actors that we've mentioned recently who've passed away,
it was
they've
definitely
been so young.
a thing where like I was going back and listening. Like we mentioned DMX before he passed, and we were talking about how DMX looked good in the verses and how he was all healthy and looking really good. And again, we were talking about Biz Markie, and you were talking about like meeting him or like seeing him on the streets and whatnot outside of K Lounge.
It was like outside. I was walking past Pure. It's not Pure.
K Lounge.
It was K Lounge, but what is
Lounge.
that? What is that club that's right by Park?
Park, yeah.
And he was kind of sitting on one of the tree like.
The little like those little like metal encampments that surround the little
trees.
Skinny trees that are on the sidewalk.
He was just chilling, looking tired, like probably having DJ'd for the whole night. And I was just like, "You're Biz Markie," and he was like, "Yep." And then, unfortunately, now he passed.
Yeah.
And I know they didn't say how he passed, but I know he had been dealing with diabetes.
Yeah.
For a few years, so perhaps complications from that. But it's very sad. He was only 57 years old. I mean, so many of these artists, they're not making it past 60, and I'm just like, black men, please go to the doctor.
Drink some water. Make sure you're taking your medication and your supplements. Eat vegetables. Eat your leafy greens. And none of this is like a bit. None of this is a joke. Like seriously. Look out for your health, man, because we need to live long, healthy lives. And 57, it feels like he had so much more in the tank. You know what I mean?
But you know what? He lived, when I was writing his obituary, I found out like so much more about him. He was really, he had a very long and great career. Did you know he was on Yo Gabba Gabba?
Yes. Did you know that he was in the second Men in Black movie?
Yes. I purposely I used one of those clips when we were posting about him on IG. But he had a great career and everyone loved him. He was one of those videos that was on my parents, those R&B and hip hop music videos that they used to record in the 80s off MTV or whatever, and I just remember always loving that video. So
in honor of Biz Markie, I'm gonna go around just like every now and then just randomly say, make the music with your mouth. And I'm not gonna mean it in a dirty way. I'm just like, make the music in your mouth and make the music with your mouth. And it'll just mean like, yeah, do some Biz Markie shit.
Yeah.
If you can. I don't know. I'm not good at it.
I'm not really good at it.
Me neither.
I think that is a possible, you might get slapped a few times if you say that to someone.
I will specifically only say this to myself
friends?
in the mirror.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because I know exactly what's going to happen if I just out of nowhere say, make the music with your mouth. But no, shout out to Biz, man.
And last but definitely not least is Gloria Richardson. And if you don't know who Gloria Richardson is, she was a civil rights activist. She was a Howard Bison, H-U, you know.
Yep.
And in the 1960s, she lived in Maryland.
Shout out to Maryland.
And where she was living, unfortunately, you know, it was still segregated. And she basically was from a pretty well-to-do upper middle class family.
Yeah.
So she had more power in the area. So she made it a point when she moved back from D.C. I'm going to tell you the name of the place she lived. I think it was Cambridge. Yeah, in Cambridge, Maryland.
Yeah.
And she was just very politically active there. And then I believe in 1962, SNCC, if you know SNCC, they were the ones like doing the freedom rides. They came to Cambridge.
Right. Okay.
And they she went to meetings and she started getting active with them. And she was fighting for the black people in Cambridge and in Dorchester County to like have equal treatment, because a lot of black people were living in these poor shanty towns with no electricity or water. There was a lot of segregation. The unemployment was like 30%, because one of the big plants in the factories closed, and nobody was doing anything. And so, you know, of course, during that time, there was a lot of turmoil happening in the country and civil rights issues popping up in every state. And she just took the initiative, and she didn't back down from really anyone. It was whether it was President John F. Kennedy, whether it was Martin Luther King. And at that time, if you could imagine a black woman being very vocal, it was, people felt it was problematic, both as a black woman who was like not docile, because she believed in both Martin Luther King and Malcolm X's ideologies of, yes, we can practice nonviolence, but also if people want to get active, we can get active. If they are attacking us, like, we're not going to just sit there. And because she had very strong feelings about that, a lot of the mainstream, you know, progressives, quote unquote, at the time, villainized her as, like, you know, this vigilante.
Well, of course they did.
And even
like, we know the story of America, but I'm sorry, continue.
When she went to the Million Man March, and she was only one of 6 women who was there to speak, they only let her say hello, and then just like took the mic away from her.
Shit,
because they didn't like the fact that she, like, basically there had been a lot of fights in Cambridge between the whites and the blacks, and they had been trying to get her to, like, you know, tell everyone to go back home, stop protesting. She was like, no, we're not going to just accept these scraps that you're trying to give us. And because when she went to the White House, after there was, like, basically almost like a civil war in the neighborhood,
right, and
she was like, you guys can sign all the peace treaties and everything that you want, that's not going to stop people on the streets from fighting, because these peace treaties aren't doing anything. It doesn't matter who the leader is, who's talking to them. It's the people on the street that matter. Yeah. And if you're not going to give us the equal treatment, why would I say, sure, let me just kowtow to you? And even when they sent Martin Luther King an envoy from him to talk quote unquote sense into her, and she was like, nah, I'm good. And the picture that's really famous of her is when she's coming to, like, calm a crowd of black protesters in the area, and the National Guard had been there for almost a year, and she's, like, pushing the National Guardsman's bayonet out of her face, like, get the fuck out of here, like, I'm not interested. Yeah. And that picture has been pretty iconic, you know, throughout the civil rights movement and now. Yeah. But she only was a leader for 3 years, and then she stepped down from being chairman of SNCC. She married a freelance photographer that was, like, there at the protests, moved, or I think she might have stayed in Maryland, but she just kind of lived her life. Got remarried, had 2. She has, I think, 2 children.
Okay, so she, you know, survived by her family. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and, God called her home, but
she was 99.
She was a badass motherfucker.
She was, and
I don't say that in, like, any form of. I mean that in the most highest of highest respectful ways. Yeah,
and you know? I mean, I'm just grateful that, you know, she was 99 years old. She died at home. With her family, and I feel like for the black activists, both then and now that is really amazing. But I think it's also kind of a reminder. The reason why she stopped working so hard in the civil rights movement because she was burnt out. I mean, it was 3 years of constantly fighting and pushing back, and I think that's something that we all have to remember is like we can do work, but you don't have to burn yourself out. But she, during the George Floyd protests, she was like, y'all need to y'all need to step it up. Y'all gotta do more.
Well,
because she was like, you don't want to be protesting these things in another 100 years. It's like, can you imagine?
Wait, time out. What were you about to say? Could you imagine what? Follow that line. If you don't mind me asking.
Us at 99 years old having to still be fighting the same things you were fighting when you were in your 30s.
Isn't that exactly what our parents have already witnessed and our grandparents?
I mean, all of them, but like,
isn't that just the black experience?
But I think that's why she was like, y'all have to do the most now because I'm sure she's like, I'm tired of having to think about this and see this. You know, she had been in her adult life after she left SNCC, she was working a lot. I think she moved to New York and she was working a lot in anti-age discrimination work. But she still was like, if things are happening, you got to go and do it because why would you want to have to continue this cycle?
Right.
So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Shout out to you. Shout out to all of those who have been called home. Is it disrespectful to do air horns?
You could do an air horn.
It feels disrespectful. I gotta find a different way other than
that. We give air horns, and when people die, they get like those guns.
Shout out to those who were. You know what? I'll phrase it this way. Shout out to those who we respect, who have created and cemented a legacy, and who have been called home.
I feel like
that's exactly what we just did.
That's exactly what you just said.
Okay, I just want to make it, at no point in time do I ever want it to even seem like I'm being disrespectful. That's all.
I don't think people are gonna think you're being disrespectful.
Good.
But yes, but now we can move towards happier times.
Yeah, just some
in pop culture.
What's going on?
All right, so some dope things that have happened recently. One, Michaela Cole. She is joining the MCU.
Wait, and you know what the funny thing is? She's joining the MCU, technically, already in the Disney universe because she was in
Star Wars: The Last Jedi.
Was it The Last Jedi?
Yeah, it was The Last Jedi. I just wrote this story.
Okay, all right.
I just wrote it. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Well, honestly, I give it to you. If you already know what it is, then you know what it is.
But they haven't announced who she is. Everybody wants her to be Storm, of course. Or is it Aurora Monroe? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, Aurora Monroe. Is
it because it's spelled like with an O? Mm-hmm. So it's Aurora or Aurora?
I've always known it as Aurora Monroe.
Okay.
Now, if I've been mispronouncing it, I give myself the space and the grace to possibly be mispronouncing it. But like every time I've heard it on like X-Men, the animated series, it's always been Aurora. No, it's been Aurora. Yeah, Aurora Monroe.
Hey, listen, whatever it is.
Whichever it is, I hope that she gets to play it.
Some other people were saying they wanted her to be possibly Bast. Or to be, I'm blanking on her name. The Killmonger's love interest, and she can control leopards.
I vaguely know who
Madam
you're referring
Slay.
to.
Madam Slay, her. Or they were saying Anika, the captain of the Dora Milaje.
Yeah.
So I mean, honestly, any of them are going to be amazing because she's dope. I wonder.
I want her to have a prominent role.
I want her to have a dope role. Some people were saying they didn't want her to be Storm because they want. I forgot the British. I think she might be British. She played in American Gods, the dark skinned woman who I believe was playing Yemaya.
I know who you're referring to. I don't remember her
name.
actor name.
but people were saying they wanted her to be Storm. But I mean, honestly, I love Michaela Cole. She's amazing. If she's Storm, I'm gonna be excited about it.
Yeah, honestly, no matter what role she's gonna play, I'm gonna be excited for her. There's any number of dope black women who would make
dark-skinned black women specifically.
Dark-skinned black women who would make great Storms. Okay, and shout out to all of them.
Did you hear, speaking of comic books, superhero movies, did you hear about Meg Thee Stallion joining She-Hulk?
Wait, is that
She-Hulk?
fucking true? Because if you tell me that's true, I'm gonna believe it.
This is the thing. I've been seeing it around, but no one has I'm gonna just look it up real quick.
Please look it up.
But I don't know. They said because somebody first made a
joining the cast. You mean?
Someone had. There's two.
There's already an actress who is playing.
I think Jamila isn't Jamila from The Good Place.
From The Good Place, she's already playing She-Hulk. Yeah,
it's interesting that she's gonna be She-Hulk. I didn't think that.
Why wouldn't you think that? She's pretty tall.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. If that's the criteria.
Yeah, like we talk about wait, time out. Did they say that was the rumor that you heard that Meg Thee Stallion was gonna be playing She-Hulk?
That was the rumor that I heard, but then I was like, no, that can't be true.
No.
Because I saw that Jamila was, but this one article says that she's gonna be starring as herself. We'll see. It's a rumor. It's still rumored. So
she's gonna be in the. She's
gonna be in it. But it's saying she's starring as herself. But we'll see. When things come out for real, we'll see. We'll give a better announcement.
It's like how Quavo turned up in Narcos, in that one episode of Narcos. So
wow.
Yeah, but speaking of Megan Thee Stallion, I've been hearing some things of her being on.
She also was doing some dope things.
Yeah, dopeness. We on the podcast love us some Megan Thee Stallion. You know what I mean?
She's the first female rapper to be on the cover of swimsuit edition of Sports Illustrated, and she was joined by Lena Bloom. You gotta.
Okay, I was gonna do after each name.
Yes, but that is not feasible.
Okay, fair enough. Fine. You're like that teacher who tells us don't clap after every student's name, just clap after all the names have been graduated.
Yes, and you like a true black person, you decided to not listen.
Yeah, I didn't want to, but I will listen now. I will listen now.
Okay, so Meg Thee Stallion's the first woman rapper to be on the cover. Mm-hmm. Lena Bloom is who's an activist. She's the first transgender model to be on the cover, and our girl Naomi Osaka is the first female athlete to be on the cover.
Fantastic.
So we are very excited.
Fantastic. I'm very excited. Have you got you a copy?
No, not yet. But
I want to actually get a physical copy. Like I don't, it's everything is all digital. Mm-hmm. But this is one of those monumentous things where I want to get a copy and sort of save it as like a collector's thing.
It's interesting that the Sports Illustrated cover is still a thing.
Yeah. Because
you could see these women in bathing suits on their personal Instagram pages.
Well, come on, man. We got to support literature, and we got to support the written word.
I would have written that cover story for. Listen, I would have written that cover story for Meg Thee Stallion and Naomi Osaka.
And no offense, but if the Maxim 100 is still a fucking thing, then Sports Illustrated is definitely still gonna be a thing.
I think people are just. I feel like they're just making these covers because people buy them for like, nostalgia. I don't feel like they're buying them because
no one's reading them.
Because it's like when Playboy and Sports Illustrated was coming out. I mean, you were not seeing these women or men in their bikinis.
Can I tell you something?
What?
My uncle, he collected sports. This is where I got the idea. He collected Sports Illustrated and Jet magazines. Mm-hmm. He would always get 2 copies, one to collect, like to save just in like a library that was untouched and with just like a reference piece to go back to, and one to read through, like to read the articles and read everything that was in the magazine and everything like that. But he would just buy 2. Mm-hmm. That's my idea for this that's what I want to do for these magazines. Is just like get 2 copies of each, one to save and one to read.
idea.
Because, look, I want to support journalism. I do. Entertainment journalism is still journalism.
Did I say that it wasn't?
No, I wasn't. You know what it was? I was self-conscious because I did a little giggle. I did a little giggle as soon as I said it.
I mean, all of these are journalism. There's there's no such. I mean, there is fluff pieces of it, but literally you can have a fluff piece in any genre of journalism. So
of course, yeah.
There's no one area where it's more important. Well, I'm not gonna say that.
No, there's definitely
hard news is very important, but entertainment news is just as important because it just takes as much skill set. Honestly, it takes even more skill set sometimes to write an entertainment piece because you have to both be witty and entertaining, while also being factual and doing the whole journalism thing. Versus a hard news story where it's just like who, what, when, where, why, and
I struggle just to be entertaining and I struggle just to be funny. So the fact that if I had to be factual and actually have to cite my sources and make sure that I don't get sued for libel, fuck, that's the reason why I went to School of C for television and film as opposed to, well, no, it was film. It wasn't television and film. It was just film as opposed to journalism. Shout out to journalism.
You are being very, very copious amounts of air horns.
I love air horns. I don't know what else to tell you. Air horns are fun. And you know what it is? So a little bit of backstory. We have a new configuration right now because normally it's closer to me and therefore I have to reach for it. So it matters more. It matters more because I have to actually go over there to get it. All right. You want to take a quick break?
Was that all we were going to talk about?
Yeah.
All right.
We shall be back.
You're listening to the Black and Snurdy Podcast.
We now return to the Black and Snurdy podcast.
It's a shame the way you rest around with your man. It's a shame the way you hurt me. It's a shame. This was playing at the beach the other day.
Oh, when the day I couldn't go.
Well, I mean, you eventually made it.
Yeah.
But like, okay, look, there's gonna be another beach day.
I didn't get fun in the sun.
I know. If it makes you feel why would it make you feel any better that we didn't even get to enjoy the beach day because there was a storm warning that ultimately didn't even come. It was little bits of drizzle, and then the storm passed, and we didn't have to get the fuck off the beach like we ended up doing.
Yeah, but probably if there was drizzle, the sand probably got a little bit damp.
Probably, but either way,
definitely going to the beach tomorrow. I don't care.
Yeah, no. There's definitely.
I'm gonna be in the sun and get as chocolatey as possible.
Did we ever decide? Well, that could be an off mic thing. I was about to say, like, did we ever decide which one? But it's all good.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome back to more of the Black and Snurdy podcast. It is now time for us to do what we always do, and that is talk about our mental health journeys. Both of us are advocates, not experts when it comes to mental health and self-care, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
And every week.
You know, we're both in therapy, we're both into self-care, and we're both curious about each other's journeys. So tell me about your journey.
So many times. You say journey so often. We're gonna have to find some synonyms for you.
Okay, well, don't stop believing.
But okay, yeah, this week for me, I want to say, considering all the things, well, I won't say all the things that happened this week. It wasn't like that big of a week, but the things that did happen this week that I feel like could have been super duper stressful on my mental health. Mm-hmm. I feel like I treated them or I made it through with grace and elegance. I was adulting hard AF. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to go super into it, but I just got into a bit of a disagreement with my mother.
Oh, no.
And, you know, my mother and I are a lot alike, mm-hmm. which is both really great at times and not so great at times, because the thing about when you're very similar to someone, you are going to more likely get on their nerves in a way like that's very different than other people. And so I feel like my mother, I think with parents, as we get older, they're having to learn that like you can't talk to me the way you talked to me when I was 15 years old. Mm-hmm. And especially you can't talk to me the way that the way you did when I was 15 and expect me to shut up. Like my therapist and I talk about this quite often. Because it's like my mom and I would say overall we have a generally, good relationship.
Right.
But we also will have arguments a lot, like, and it could be over the most ridiculous thing. But I'm like, if you're saying something that I don't agree with, I'm not going to necessarily hold my tongue. I don't agree with it. I'm going to say it. And then we'll have a back and forth. And then eventually she'll want to try to pull rank of like,
pull rank. Wow. Okay.
Of being mom and think that is somehow going to keep me from talking. And it is not. And you want to know why? Because what are you going to do? Nothing. Mm-hmm. You are not going to hit me. You can't ground me. I have my own home.
Yes.
Like, there's nothing that you can do besides be sick that I'm talking to you. And you're just going to have to stay mad about it and be salty. Because I feel like, and I'm not saying that, like, I thoroughly believe in, honoring your father and mother. I think that we, like, regardless of who you are, where you're from, I think it is important for you, just kind of like on a karmic level, mm-hmm. to be respectful, not just to your parents, but to elders in the community, because it's like these people have lived through way more than you've lived through. They have a lot more knowledge and wisdom, but that doesn't mean that you should allow them to necessarily be disrespectful to you, mm-hmm. because although I may not know as much as you and I haven't been through as much as you, I still have had a life. So the same way my little sister's 17, when we're talking about something, regardless of whether or not she's experienced it the way that I've experienced it, she is still a person with her own thoughts and feelings, and I can respect what she has to say, even if I could still recognize that yes, it is a more a novice perspective, but her perspective is still valid. And I find like with my mom and I that she does not always seem to get that. Like it's like she says, I want my children to, like she's always said this, I want my children to talk to me about anything. I want us to be able to discuss. And we used to have like, family meetings, and we'd always talking about our feelings, et cetera, which is great. I feel like a lot of kids
Can I ask you, sorry, why do you say it like that?
What?
Talk about your feelings. Like you had like an extra like bit of stank on when you said talk about your feelings.
Like, having family discussions about feelings and how you felt and what was going on.
Do you often feel uncomfortable about talking about feelings?
It depends on the feelings. If
Fair
it's
enough.
a positive feeling, I do not feel uncomfortable. If it is a negative feeling, I feel uncomfortable 100%.
Okay.
I do not like to, I will say
Asked and
that I don't, whatever reason, I am not a fan of talking about feelings.
Okay.
I don't like having uncomfortable conversations, regardless of whether or not, like in my household, it wasn't like you shouldn't have uncomfortable, like we was very much, if you have something to say it. I just don't like saying it. I don't like it.
Okay. Okay.
But also my mother is a school teacher and a social worker. So the amount of conversations that we were having about feelings and about like emotions, it just felt like it was just excessive. Like it's like we're always talking about it.
Okay.
So that is why I was like, ugh, yeah, like again, but
Rolling your eyes.
yeah, like ugh, man, more conversation.
Okay.
But I feel like as a grown up, that she still wants to be able to have the same kind of fear/respect that a child gives their parent. And when I say fear, it's not like my mother wasn't really big on, we got spunked.
The past
spanked
tense
a little
of
bit.
spank is spunked.
We got spanked a little bit, but honestly, I didn't fear that my mom was going to hit me. I feared that we were going to have a fucking discussion and a lecture about it. And
you would have rather I don't want to put
I would have rather had a spanking than to have her fucking lecture for give a Shakespearean monologue and all this. And then not only that, I would have gotten something taken away. So not only then are you talking to me for a fucking hour plus and I can't say anything back, which already I'm pissed off because you're talking all this shit. Probably half of it is extremely wrong or exaggerated, and I can't even respond because if I respond, whatever the outcome of the grounding or whatever was going to be is going to be worse. And so now as an adult, I have recognized that I have like a innate, just I cannot not say something. I have to.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to my therapist about this. This is a topic of discussion of like, well, why do you feel the need to constantly like refute what your mother says? And I'm like, because I can. That is it. It's just because I can. It doesn't necessarily because it's like, it doesn't have to be like a big thing. It's just because I can. And I didn't have that freedom when I was a child, and I'm taking it back now. I'm reclaiming my fucking time, and I don't care. But
because of us, we can. Sorry, that's the first thing that I thought of. I know that's not the same thing.
I'm
but
reclaiming my time. But I also, in the reclaiming my time, I have learned that we can have conversations without it being an argument.
Right.
Even if I'm triggered, because I feel like when she tries to pull rank, I get very triggered.
Right.
Because I'm like, you're not going to talk to me like I'm a child. But these I think are the natural growing pains of parent-child relationships.
Yeah.
Because in every juncture of your life, like you have to start having boundaries. And I started reading that book, Get Boundaries, Find Peace. But I think I read it about it. I talked about it on the podcast last time.
Yeah. Or at the very least, I think in person I asked you about it.
Yeah. And I just got that. And that was really good. And it's just like, boundaries are what creates better relationships. And I will say honestly that I am not the best always at. I'm good at some boundaries, but not others. And if the more uncomfortable I feel like the boundary, like bringing up the boundary is going to be, the less likely I am to speak about the boundary, which is something I'm working on because I've recognized, like in romantic relationships, because it takes me, I may not ever say what the thing is that I wanted a boundary on, or I may not make it known, and then I will just disconnect from the it causes like me to disconnect, and then it's like, all right, well, not to say like if I had made the boundary, it would have necessarily changed something, but it would have been at the very least a conversation would have been had. So those are things that I'm working on in therapy.
Okay.
And I feel like I have made some steps of being able to talk about my feelings.
That's good. That's good.
Both with my family and my friends and people that like just anyone in my life. But I'm still finding it. It's like, a training session, because I recognize that for me, a lot of the reason why I will not put boundaries up when I necessarily want them is because I'm afraid of being selfish. And I feel quite guilty when it comes to putting up boundaries. And in any kind of relationship, like I'll feel guilty about it. Especially if I know it could possibly like hurt someone else's feelings, because that's always like the last thing that I want to do. I try to be very mindful of how my behavior or what I say might impact the other person. So when it is time for me to possibly make that boundary, I am still it's still kind of a little bit difficult for me to get it, but I'm doing it. I'm trying. Every time you make a boundary, you are just flexing a muscle. So I'm like, I'm doing pull-ups right now in my head.
Yeah. You're starting the journey by doing one push-up. And that's all it starts. It's like the one boundary is the one push-up until you feel comfortable with doing two push-ups, two boundaries, and so on and so forth until you can knock out like comfortably as many as you see fit, because that's where you are. You're healthily, you're strengthening your emotional core.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
a good one.
That's a good one-to-one analogy.
Put that on a shirt. Don't put that on a shirt.
Strengthen your emotional core.
Yes. Hold on.
Okay.
Wait. You can put it on a shirt, but let's just.
I actually thought you were gonna be like, nope, that's not. It's fine.
But no, I feel good that, one, like, I had a conversation with my mom that I had to have. And regardless of how the conversation ended up, I'm glad that I had it, because it was a very adult thing to do. And like, I've had to have some other conversations this last week, which were difficult. Got through them, even though it was very uncomfortable. But that is life, and if we do not take those steps, our relationships are not going to be in the best place possible. I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to be able how to create boundaries, or just talk about things that I might notice or make me feel uncomfortable, or etc. Which, that is next on the list of things for me. But at least I know that I'm getting closer and closer to be able to open my mouth, say how I feel, regardless. Because I'm able to do that with strangers, but the closer the person is to me, the less likely I am to do that.
Of course.
I never want to alienate the people in my life that I love. But I those are just, those are just poor boundaries, because if I make a boundary with someone and they are upset about that boundary, that has everything to do with them and nothing to do with me.
Right.
So yeah, that was it. I mean, I'm still looking for a new therapist for the DBT, because the therapist that I was going to see, she did get back to me that she doesn't have any more spaces.
Mm-hmm.
So I reached out to her again today. She said she's going to look and let me know. So I'm going to try to be on top of that. And yeah, I mean, it's been a pretty average week. I'm glad I got to go to my Black Unicorn ADHD group on Monday, because I've been missing that, and that's always a fun time. And yeah, that's about it.
Okay. That's fantastic. Yeah. As far as my mental health journey this week, actually, if I'm being honest with you, it was mostly just very chill for the most part, with the sole exception of some stuff that I'll talk about and the things that made me happy during this time period. But also, so this is more physical health that's weighing on my mental health. I went to the doctors last week to get some blood work done. I got the results back, and it's not that they're bad, but there's, just some sort of like abnormalities that is now leading me to have to go get more blood work done, just to make sure that like what they saw was just like, hey, it could have just been like a one-off thing.
Yeah.
And want to make sure that it's not. But recently it's been weighing on me a lot more. I have high blood pressure, right? It's been weighing on me a lot more mentally, I would say. I like to believe that at least during the week, I've been dealing with it well. And during the weekends, I want to deal with it better. But, like, it's something that's, like, gnawing at me in the back of my head of just, like, you're 32, Maurice, and you have high blood pressure, because my dad also has high blood pressure. And, like, I set up an appointment with a nutritionist, like, 'cause based off of his recommendation. Like, he recommended setting up an appointment with a nutritionist because that's what he did to help with his high blood pressure. And I did too, so that I can, like, maybe focus on a diet that will help me to lower my blood pressure and whatnot. I haven't been drinking or at least, like, I've been, I was on vacation, but during the work week, I don't drink during the week, or at the very least, I think I only drank like one night this past week or whatever. I've been limiting my drinking like during the weekends, so like it's not the way that it used to be. None of my habits have been the way that they used to be, and because of that, like it's just weighing on me. Like, how do I lower my blood pressure so that I can live longer? You know what I mean? And that's a very real thing that's been in my brain for quite a number of weeks. Like, when I'm taking medication and I'm exercising and, like I'm doing what I can. There's more that I can do. There's more that I could be doing, and I will be doing those things, but like, it's just now mentally weighing on me. And I can't, I have to be honest with you that like, that's just on my brain. That's on my mind. Otherwise, everything else is pretty good.
Well, I think that makes sense. I feel like when we have things going on with our bodies, it's scary to know that like we're not
in control.
In control of it, yeah. And you have to just kind of figure out and wait and hope that, whatever medicines or things you're doing by yourself are going to.
I'm trying not to do this on mic.
It's fine. Are not going to kind of derail you, and especially when we're young people. So anything that's like
health related
just feels like a lot. But I think that it's good that you got the nutritionist. Question.
Yes.
Is your nutritionist Black?
No. I can't. First and foremost, it was hard for me to find a nutritionist in my area. It was fine. It was hard for me to find a nutritionist in my insurance.
Oh, okay.
Let alone
'Cause I was just
finding a
thinking,
black
like,
nutritionist.
If you ever found a black one, if there's a black nutritionist out there, please contact us.
Yes.
Because I'm just thinking about like food. Like we are going to be a black person, probably allegedly, is going to generally be able to tell you more ways of eating the way that you are going to actually like
My dad
to eat.
got advice to use powder instead of like to keep seasoning your food, but just with the powder instead of
Why
like
can't you
the actual
season your food if you're just not using salt?
too much sodium.
Everything
Sodium
doesn't have sodium.
Sodium has salt and sodium and seasonings. Like
But you can get seasonings that don't have salt in them.
Okay.
Oregano doesn't have salt. Paprika doesn't have salt.
I'm giving you the information that I'm telling you what I've been told about high blood pressure. But
You probably couldn't do like adobo, but you could get adobo without salt.
Okay. I'll look into that. I'm just telling you what I was told by a doctor.
I just feel like these white people. I want to know what these doctors.
My doctor who told me about this wasn't white, but like I never said just because I said they were black doesn't mean that they're white.
Know why they are telling people that the seasonings are somehow. I know that.
Are you questioning a medical?
I know that some seasonings have salt, but most seasonings do not have salt. So I'm just curious as to why is it bad to season your food? I just feel like that's the part is where I'm confused, because high blood pressure, if it's sodium, for sure, cutting that out. But all the other herbs and spices.
It's not all the other herbs and spices. It's sodium specifically.
But sodium is in salt. There might be trace amounts in other herbs and things, but I'm sure that there. I want to know
telling you what a medical professional told me. I don't know why you're giving me shit for this.
Are a bad thing. That's just what. Please, somebody tell me, why would seasonings impact that do not include salt or sodium? Why they would be bad for you to use? Because that's what I'm curious about. Because I just feel like that part.
I've been putting onion powder on stuff and garlic powder on stuff because that's okay.
Well, I mean, yes, but I'm just curious about the other ones. Like, what else is there?
Okay.
That you're not supposed to use to season your food?
We'll talk to a doctor then.
I am not the one with the high blood pressure.
If they're, you're not the one. So then why the fuck are you like?
Because I would like you to be able to have. I mean, I'm not coming at you. I'm just hoping you can have, a dish that doesn't taste like air. But hey,
I air fry all my shit, and I'm not
food,
first and foremost.
That's fine. I just want to make sure that you have a tasty meal.
Sis, I air fry my food. My food, when I season it, even with the powders, do not taste like fucking air. Let me just make that clear, okay? So I just want to make that clear. I'm not just tasting like the raw meats or whatever like that.
You were the one that said that you couldn't use seasonings.
I'm using powder.
But you said this now afterwards.
Yeah.
Your original statement was you couldn't use seasoning.
Cool. And then how many times did I say powder and you just kept going?
I know, but there's still other. Why? Whatever. These are stupid. I am glad that you're finding
mental health journey.
Help, and I am really hopeful we're going to figure out ways of making sure that you're okay.
All right.
And you're going to have a very long life.
Yes. I
you may not be able to eat, ribs at the tailgate, but you're still going to be able to have fun.
I might have to be dry rub. Dry rub ribs.
Dry rub ribs.
Yeah. Nothing wrong. Honestly, I have tasted some dry rub ribs that are really good.
I had lots of dry rub ribs when I was in Houston. So.
I bet you did, and you probably took photos of it
and
sent that bullshit to me.
I did.
But anyhow, so yeah, no, that's been our mental health journeys for this past week. That's the last time I'm gonna say the J word.
Thank you.
But look, man, it's not all sweet. It's not all rainbow. First and foremost, I don't even for a minute there, the way that there was complaints, I thought that we were in a whole different segment. But now we can actually talk about this segment because
bringing it. What? We gripe it. We're not griping anywhere else. We gripe it. This is space for us to share. We gripe it. We ain't griping anywhere else. We gripe it.
That's right. We're talking about the gripes, the things that gave us ajira, the things that pissed us off, the things that annoyed the shit out of us, the things that made us mad, angry, and peeved during this past session. So let me start off with you.
I started off the last time.
Okay, I'm gonna start off. All right. Okay, so actually, one of them is a thing that you're probably gonna talk about, and another is like a more global thing, or actually, it might be a little bit personal.
Global
I'll just
warming?
go. No, not global warming. Okay, so the first thing is first.
I pop up.
This
Freaks
is
all the
honeys,
bunnies,
Playboy
Playboy bunnies, those want monies. All right.
Okay. This is personal. I have a new roommate. He's I'm not gonna say anything about him, like as far as like personal information. But what I will say is this. To the new roommate, you're fucking with my schedule, okay? I'm the one who gets up mad, or I wake up every morning at 5:00 in the morning, right? I exercise for a little bit, or I meditate for a little bit. Either way, I'm in the shower by 6:00. This dude is in and out of, like, I don't know what it is he's doing in the mornings when he's getting ready to go to work or whatever, but he is in the bathroom multiple times, like in and out for like long periods, long stretches of time, right? I don't know if it's like he goes in there to brush his teeth for one, and then he goes out, and then he goes in there to take a shower for one, and goes out, and then he goes in there to shave and does that, and he goes in there to, I don't know what else, but either way, he's going in, he's spending an inordinate amount of time in the bathroom, and then multiple times going back into the bathroom, and it's preventing me from doing my fucking thing. Now, mind you, I know everybody has their own thing, and I'm not about to sit here and be like, speculate like, oh, okay, like whatever, right? That, right? But, dude, if there's anything that I can complain about, turn your goddamn AC off when you leave the fucking room, okay? Your AC is still on. I can hear it. I know that it's on, dude. And it's not one of those automated ones that connect to Alexa like mine. Because, like, I could look and see, oh, snap, it's still on. Turn that shit off. Nope. It's just running. And we have to split that electricity bill. So, to my roommate, you got to cut that shit out, dude. Turn your AC off. And look, whatever it is, just like use your time wisely, okay? Condense some of that time so that I can get back to my fucking routine. But more importantly, turn your fucking AC off, man. I have to split the electricity bill. It's the summertime. I get it. We all want to come home to a fucking cool ass room, but it's only in your room, and you leave your door open. You're ACing the hallway. Remember when our parents would say like little colloquial, like, I'm not heating the entire neighborhood or anything like that, or they say like, excuse the pig, not the hog, all this other bullshit. Exactly, like all these little colloquialisms. I feel that whenever I have to look at like the electricity bill and mind you, split 4 ways, my share is $112. What the fuck?
Have you talked to him about this?
I told him to close his door.
No, I'm talking about. Have you talked to him about the air conditioner?
Oh yeah, I told him, yo, man, you've been leaving your AC
tell
on.
Them if he's causing the electric bill to go higher, then you don't tell them that you're not going to pay that. And they need to sort it out.
I'm about to do that.
I'm sitting here all day hearing your air conditioner going on. I know it's not mine. I'm sitting here. You're causing there to be a higher level of money for me to pay. And this is what it on average is. And mind you, there have been a few times where I have left my apartment, and mind you, I've left either my lights on or my TV on, right? Every night it turns off at like either 11:30 or whatever. So no matter what, it turns off. Or I can look at my app and I can see that it's on. I could turn it off. Yeah. So
like no matter what, at least I have control. But to my roommate, dude, turn your fucking AC off. All right? Turn your fucking AC off.
You should just be like, hey, can we have a discussion? We both get up at the same time, and I want to be able to figure out how to navigate the bathroom situation.
And last thing, this is the last thing. This is the very, very last thing. If you are on a video call and there's somebody else like in the area, like it's courtesy not to do anything in the background while you're in the fucking video call, right?
What? I'm sorry. Wait, say that again.
If you have a video call and it's a meeting, right? And there's someone else in the room, it's protocol to not do shit in the background, right?
Like blender stuff, like loud stuff.
Loud stuff, walk through, in and out, or anything like that?
Well, I mean, I think that unfortunately, in the status of where we are right now in this panorama, we cannot always dictate what people, like if you're in the home. Now, I will say, if I had a roommate and they are on a meeting, I would try to do my best to be as quiet as possible.
I told him I was in a meeting. I literally looked at him
and said, like,
hey, I got a meeting right here.
I would try to be as quiet as possible.
My internet is going, like, my internet goes in and out in my room. I have to have this meeting here because this is the only spot in the house.
Was he making, like, a smoothie or something?
He was first off, he's eating ice cream right near me, which is fine because he's not on camera, but even though, like, he's just, like...
He knows how to eat ice cream?
Like, imagine... Imagine my laptop is right here, and you're just like right here, just like eating ice cream, just like right here, just like.
Were you mad because you didn't have any ice cream?
I don't want no fucking. I have Cherry Garcia in the goddamn refrigerator. I don't want no fucking ice cream. I want him to fucking leave. Oh, okay, I get it. You don't want to eat in your room, and so you're eating in the kitchen. I completely understand that, right? Like, what the fuck is it? Like, he didn't even like. He went into the like the way that it's positioned. Like, the trash can is right near me on the other side, so he has to go all the way around and come behind me, and he's not ducking or anything like that. He's just like walk, like, you at least duck, like do something.
I don't know if I would have ducked. I would have just not. I would have tried.
Hey,
I mean, I'm on your side.
Because like these are my gripes, and it seems like you're not.
No, I'm super on your side. I am. I'm just saying. I think that you have to have a conversation with him so that you can not have a wanting to smother him in the night.
Yeah. All right. Fine. I will have a conversation with him.
Hopefully, after you have this conversation, he is being conscious, because I feel like he's not cognizant that these things are.
He doesn't have
you
social awareness to know that maybe don't do this bullshit.
Yeah, because I feel like if I'm at home and there's I can't help that you have a meeting, but I really want my treat. I'm not gonna make any noise, but we all are living in this apartment together. You know, that's unfortunately what happens when everyone has to stay inside because of this panorama.
For sure. And then the last thing was a thing that you're probably going to end up talking about is just that photo of that black man and that white woman just like doing that slave theme bullshit. Like, you know what? I'm gonna pass the baton off to you because I'm drained from talking about my thing. That is also fucking annoying the shit out of me and pissed me the fuck off. But you take it away for that one.
So, if you do not know, we don't know the people's names because whoever shared this post was, trying to protect their identity and did not, they didn't put up who they were.
It was probably his sister.
But
his sister or his mom was just like, do you see this bullshit that my son just did? Like with his fucking girlfriend named Lillian.
So basically this black man and his white fiance did an engagement shoot, very normal. The abnormal part of the problematic situation is that instead of it being like on a beach, in, a museum, on where they had their first date, it is in a field. And being in a field isn't terrible.
Yeah, there's different types of
cottage
fields.
Core.
Football fields, soccer fields.
There's no problem with that.
Fields of grain.
But they're in like a cornfield. And even in the cornfield, you could be like, this is a cute...
Yeah, maze.
A maze. Or just like a cute, we're down south or wherever we live, or Iowa. Mm-hmm. And we're just like taking pictures in the cornfield. No worries, right? Yeah. The problem comes...
Oh, boy.
Because they are dressed in pre-antebellum outfits, and if you don't know, antebellum is like pre-slavery. Yeah. So antebellum is slavery.
No, it's slavery, not
so
pre.
Not pre-antebellum. It's antebellum times.
Yeah.
So
slave times.
Slave times. So he is wearing the quintessential slack. What are those potato sack pants and loose cotton shirt. She has on a Quaker Oats bonnet, looking like an Amish woman with like this kind of off the shoulder, old timey outfit. And over the course of the like 5 or 6 photos, they go from meeting in the cotton field while he's in shackles
Oh, I didn't even see that he was in shackles.
He's in shackles.
Can you show me those?
Here, let zoom in to the shackles.
Oh my! I didn't notice that.
Yes, he's in shackles, and it goes.
Dude, are you fucking kidding me? I knew that there was one of them in shackles, but like I didn't know that there was like just like.
Well, she meets him in the cornfield. They're looking at each other sweetly in the shackles, and then she proceeds to take the shackles off of him. And after she takes the shackles off, they are then in front of an old home where she has her bonnet off. She's wearing the same exact outfit. He now has on a top coat or a top hat and like a petticoat, whatever those coats are called. Mm-hmm. Not a petticoat; those go under dresses. Whatever. He just looks like he's a proper English gent.
Oh,
now.
She civilized him. Is
him.
What this is. Oh my
and
God.
let me read her caption.
Oh no, she's the one who posted it.
1842. Days passed and everything changed. Our love got stronger and stronger. He was no longer a slave. He was part of the family. Part 2 pre-wedding session. I want to know, stop protecting these people. What is their name? Who's the photographer? What in the caucasity is this?
This was a fetish that turned into some bullshit. Like, first and foremost, there's no way that this wasn't a fucking fetish. That, like, him and his girl, like, agreed to this, like, behind bedroom doors doing some sex fucking play. And then this just grew from that. It was just like, ooh, like, what if we made this, like, our actual, like, fucking, like, getting together, like, fiance, like,
Whether
wedding
I
fucking
agree
bullshit
with it or
thing.
not, I'm not gonna yuck someone's yum in the bedroom.
I'm not gonna yuck that yum in the bedroom either.
If you have a race, slave, kink thing,
It's race play.
race play. Thank you.
That's what it's called.
You have a race play kink. Not my cup of tea, personally. I don't really know how that could be fun for anyone to be like being purposely racist to your partner when you're gonna have sex.
It's not. And that's all I'll say. It's not. I'm not saying no. All I'm saying is that it's not.
All right, we will dive more into that.
No, we won't.
No,
we won't. We won't, because all I'm saying is that it's not fun.
But
it's not fun.
I feel like when you are bringing this now into the rest of the world, you have to think about, like, what am I trying to convey? What is the message? And both, yeah, she's wrong for participating in this bullshit. He's wrong for participating in this bullshit, but he's wronger.
Yeah, I'm mad at him.
Because, like, what, like, were you adopted into a white family? Are one of your parents white? Is it your mom? How is it possible that you went through this whole thing? Maybe he's in a black family and they just, like, wanted to buy into whiteness so bad that they're, like, one of those black Trump supporters who's always like, we got to pull ourselves up from our bootstraps or some other bullshit. But it's really gross. And I don't understand how it happened.
So, like, this kind of, like, racial cosplay is not new.
Oh,
now, yeah. Like, okay. So, there are some things that, like, within the realm of nerdism that you could kind of get away with within the realm of nerdism. Like, for instance, for a long time, I wanted to go to Comic-Con with one of my best friends. His name is Sam. He's a white dude, and I wanted him to dress up as, like, original old school Nick Fury, and then I would be Samuel Jackson Nick Fury, and we're just like furious, like you're like cute. Double furious, like, because
double fury.
Yeah, double fury, right? Like, I thought that would be cool, right? I had a girlfriend whom was, without saying anything, she was white, but like she wanted to dress up like Jessica Jones, I think, right? That's the Marvel.
Yeah.
And she wanted me to dress up as Luke Cage for Halloween.
Yes. Oh, I dressed up as Luke Cage and Jessica Jones for Halloween once.
Wait, you dressed up as both of them, or you like as a couple, or what?
It was a couple, but I'm lying. We were Luke Cage and a cup of coffee. It was a really good costume. I made it. It was great.
Okay. And you know what the funny thing is? I know exactly which one of those two costumes you were. I know I wasn't there. I don't know any photos. I don't have any reference, but I just, based on what you told me, I know which one it was. I know. Either way. So that was a thing. And you know what? Like, it's within like a realm of fiction that exists, like that it's fictional.
Yeah.
And so like that makes sense. Like it's canon and it, you know, there's some level of cuteness. This bullshit, that's some bullshit cosplay. It makes cosplay, it takes cosplay down a notch, unfortunately.
I just
you know what I mean?
would like to everyone to know that slavery in any form
is not
an aesthetic.
It's not a fucking game.
It's nothing for you to dress up as.
It's not a costume.
You can't. Yeah, it's not in any form. I don't care if it's a Greek slave, if it's a Mayan slave, if it's any slaves. We are not. Don't do it. It just doesn't make any sense, and especially not a slave that is an enslaved person that. A lot of us, if not majority of black people in this country, are only a few generations. My great great grandfather was a slave.
Yeah, we're not that far removed.
We're not that far removed, and even still, even though yes, you know, Juneteenth was in 1869 was Juneteenth because 1867 was when Howard was founded. 1865. Was the Emancipation Proclamation. I think 1867 might have also been Juneteenth. I have to confirm the numbers. But I don't know if people know this, but there were people who were still living and working on plantations as actual slaves up until the 1960s.
Yeah.
Vice had interviewed a man some years ago. It was only 2 or 3 years ago, and he was talking about how they didn't leave, even though they kind of understood, yeah, you know, there might have been some sort of freedom, but it wasn't for them because people in their community had been, even in the idea of thinking of being free or thinking of, you know, voting or doing anything outside of being a slave, they were taken out and killed, and everyone saw it and knew it was not in the 1960s, let alone the people who were sharecroppers, which was another type of form of slavery because you could never get out from under this person, so you were always indentured to them. Like, it is not interesting for me to pretend to be a slave.
Yeah.
The only time it is appropriate, quote unquote, to be dressing up as a slave is if you were like
actor in the arts.
Yeah, like I know when you go to plantations, sometimes they will have like reenactments.
Yeah.
I have personally never seen them, but I know that I've heard people have gone to some where it was done. They did it. It was a very well done, and it didn't seem problematic, and maybe it was like black people who were putting on these plays. I mean, that's the only time that it's like we're doing something. It's like a teachable moment. We're trying to teach you something. I don't want to see your white girl who has been fetishizing the fact that she's going to have, you know, babies with brown
for a husband, basically,
and her mixed race babies.
Dude, you let her do that shit? Yeah,
the sunken place is deep for some people.
Dude, like I thought once we found out about the sunken place that we would be moving away from it, but apparently not. Apparently not. God damn it.
Okay, that was your second thing that was grinding you, but was there anything else?
No, I had nothing else. I hopped, skipped, and gave you the floor.
I just wanted to make sure that there was nothing else.
Yeah, no.
I have a few things. So
no, I know.
One,
I know.
Fuck you, Kanye West. I don't care about any album. Don't try to use your mother's name to get us to feel bad for you. You're still a fucking Trump supporter. You still told us that slavery was a choice and Harriet Tubman didn't fix anything or free anyone. You still were taking votes away from the presidency because you were trying to run for president. Like, you've not done anything that makes me feel like you were sorry. And did you see that the fact that he sold out the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta we're in the middle of a pandemic. I'm going to say the word because I feel like it needs to be said. We are in the middle of a pan-fucking-demic. And you are selling out a stadium. Not only are you selling out the stadium for this quote-unquote listening party, but you're charging $65 for chicken tenders? Are you dumb?
I feel like that's less about. And don't get me wrong, I'm not about to sit up here and defend Kanye, but that's less on him and more about the motherfuckers who sold out, who bought the tickets in order to sell it out.
I mean, yeah, but like people are dumb. It's
yeah,
not
people
like,
are dumb.
People do not. Studies have shown that individually we can make good choices.
Yeah,
for the most part.
A person
but
is.
When you are in when we are in like a situation like this, where it's a massive scale of people who are misinformed, there's no way for you to make a good decision because it's like you're following whatever crowd and you don't know which way to go. So you're just kind of like going anywhere. And with this Delta variant, we already know, that the Delta variant is worse than the original one. Of course, it's a mutation. It's not necessarily like some people have gotten it with the vaccine and have passed. Some people have gotten it with the vaccine and were able to, make it through. I have a coworker, their dad got it, and he had only had his first half of his shot, and thankfully that first half of the shot.
He got the variant?
He got the variant, yeah, because he was in India.
Oh, shoot.
But, like, because he had the first half of the shot, it was only, like, 3 or 4 days where it was, like, really kind of scary. But then after that, like, he was able to get better. But it's like, regardless of whether or not, like, yes, we are both vaxxed up. So it's like, I don't have necessarily.
Maxed up.
You're vaxxed up and maxed up.
Yep.
But I don't necessarily have as much fear that I may get it, but I don't want to get it. And the more people who are out here just going around in these huge super spreader events is going to make it very difficult. And I don't know if you've heard about this, but like children are at this point much more susceptible to the Delta variant.
I've heard
and
about
in
that.
some places, in some countries, their pediatric ICU beds are they're over capacity. And it's like, for you, knowing that you have money to, regardless of whatever happens to you, you could take care of yourself. These people, half of them probably don't even have insurance, may not even be working. If they get sick, what's going to happen? They don't have your billions, whatever, millions of dollars. And to constantly try to, it's like you think we're dumb. Like, you don't care about black people because black people are the main ones going to go to your show. They're the main ones who are going to get sick, not necessarily have health insurance or be treated properly when they get into a hospital. So you don't care that you might be infecting. Not only, yes, maybe these young people are coming to your show and you may be infecting them and they may not be in big trouble, but what about their parents?
Okay. Wait, time out. Not time out. Because I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. I don't know, because I don't know if he should be blamed for the last part of just of doing a concert and then people selling it out.
But I feel like
that's my only because
he didn't put
concerts are happening.
But he put it on. Anyone that's doing a concert should be.
So everyone who's doing a concert.
Everyone who's doing a concert.
Okay.
Everyone.
Okay. There we go. So I just wanted to clarify. I just wanted to clarify.
If you're doing a concert, you're gonna say I'm gonna do a concert. There should be a cap on how many people are able to go there,
right?
So that you can try to ensure that there's a little bit more being spread out. You already know people aren't listening to wearing their masks. You already know there's a large percentage of people who are not getting the vaccination. So why are you, as a public figure, not doing your part to help? And that's not that I would go to a concert. I would probably go to one if depending on who it was, if I knew where it was going to be and I could figure out what the logistics, I would possibly do that. I would say masked the whole time that I'm there. But I think that for him to he just is trolling people and they're just Like, black people are just like, oh, yeah, I guess, Trump's not in office anymore, so I can listen to his music again. No, fuck him. There are other people to listen to. Plenty of other rappers you can listen to. He is not the only one. I don't care if he got Jay-Z back on a record. I literally don't care. He's still a fucking asshole.
Well, I hate to tell you, but not audiences, fans are back in stadiums and wrestling shows in wrestling capacity as well. So
listen, what the amount of people who have recently died, who are were anti-vaxxers, I have been very young, and I'm like, yeah, they've been in their 30s, 40s.
Oh, you're saying they are very young. It
Yes.
sounded like you said I've been very young, and have been very young. You're saying they have been very young. I'm sorry. I heard you say I've been very young.
It's fine.
It's like that's why I jumped on it. Oh, shut up.
They've been very young, and it's like you constantly are seeing a stream of tweets where they'll be like, oh, I got 99 problems, but a vax ain't one. And then the next week, it's I'm having terrible chest pains. I'm in the hospital. Now they're dead. And everyone's like, oh, I'm so sad. No, I'm not sad. Today, now this is not, well, I don't know if it's funny or not, but I chuckled. One of the governors in Alabama, she told people that it's the unvaccinated who are, she was like, it's unvaccinated people who are getting everybody sick. Which possibly, sure. But are you telling your people to wear a mask in Alabama? Are you telling people to get vaccinated? It's only been recently that some of the GOP have been all of a sudden now changing their tune. I don't know what happened. I don't know what they heard, what memo they got to say we really need to be serious about this shit. But now all of a sudden they're changing their mind and they're going back against the stupid Trump ideologies of don't get the vaccine because it's going to be bad for you, because people are dropping like flies. And I just feel like this is just, Kanye is just an irresponsible person, and I cannot wait for him to just shut up and enjoy his money and leave us alone. And okay, now these are the last things. One.
Multiple.
Yeah. I told you I had several things. One, I don't know if you've heard of Megan Rapinoe, but she is a soccer player for the U.S. soccer team. She's really great. She's really woke. I like her. But she has a partnership with, I believe it's called Mendy. It's a cannabis company. And she was talking about how she uses it to, uses the company, whatever the products are to help with her training and to her recovery, et cetera, et cetera. Now, the products she's using were CBD and not THC. But if you know, CBD and THC are coming from the same plant. It's just different types of the plant. It's like having broccoli versus kale or whatever. And so I find it really hypocritical that she's allowed to have this, or it's her sister's company that she's promoting or whatever. And I think it's great that her sister has a company. I don't think there's anything wrong with them. But the fact that the Olympics has no problem with her using CBD, but kicks Sha'Carri Richardson now for having trace amounts of THC, it's extremely hypocritical. It is extremely, for me, I feel racist. And it just shows, again, how black women are constantly villainized for doing the very thing that anyone else could be doing, and they are able to make a profit. Yeah. So that was that last one thing. And my last thing, is I don't know why black men seem to always want to cape for white women who are, who do fuckery. But I don't know if you know, did you ever hear about the slave play?
No. What? Didn't we just get finished talking about this? What are you talking? Wait, no, I have not heard of the slave play.
The slave play.
Oh no.
Was written by a black man.
Okay.
His name was Jeremy O. Harris.
Okay.
I was at first very excited to see this play because I was like, this black man. I did not find it. I was like, okay, you're using this name to be kind of controversial, but I figured it probably is going to have a good message, etc.
Right.
I didn't go to see it because everything I read about it, and everyone I knew that saw it was this was trauma porn, and and it was like he hates black women. It was just like a lot.
Ooh.
So someone tweeted something about Girls, which is Lena Dunham's show.
Yeah.
He tweeted out, "Y'all sit on Rihanna's internet and talk about my good sis Lena Dunham like she didn't set the trend for a full decade of television and body every imitator that came after her by writing 3 of the top 20 best TV episodes this decade.
Wait, what?
She's human and made mistakes, but the pen is undeniable. It's also obvious how few of y'all have met or interacted with her because her generosity knows no bounds. I'm constantly grateful to have met her when I did. I've said it 1,000 times, but she inspired me to start writing aggressively and not passively in secret." Now, I don't know if Lena Dunham did, like, Lena Dunham has done a lot of bullshit throughout the years.
Yeah, that's why her nickname for a long time was Lena Dumbass for a while.
Oh,
like
I forgot.
some people were saying that.
I forgot. But
on Twitter and
like,
shit.
remember when she was at like the Met Gala and I think it was Odell Beckham was sitting next to her and she made this whole post about how he didn't want to talk to her because she wasn't pretty enough, and it was like, who? What?
Yeah, no, it was like
checking for
it was
you.
like nobody was thinking about you. It's not about you not being pretty. It's literally like you weren't. He just didn't want to talk.
He didn't know who you were. He's talking to his friends who he
He's
knows.
talking to people that he knows. Yeah.
But
exactly.
again, the like super hypersexualization of black people and
black
black men, and just like, oh, you should have been looking at my body because everyone else in the world has. Like, nobody cares, Lena.
Bullshit.
Like, and so like it annoys me when black men want to go online constantly and like caping for people who don't really care about you. Like, how many episodes of Girls were there actual black characters that had besides that 1 or 2 episodes where she's
with Donald Glover.
Like,
That's the
and
only one
still,
we can all
what is
remember.
the function of a black person to give you sexual pleasure?
I tried
Like,
watching Girls, and
it
I was
was-
like, I can't watch
no,
this.
it was
bullshit.
stupid. It was bad.
This is awful. This is like if Golden Girls was young and unbearable, like, you know what I mean? Like, just the worst.
It was terrible, and I just was like, I was completely over it, and I was very happy when it left the air. But one thing, now this is kind of going to segue us into things that's made us happy.
Is it?
Because I'm going to tell you. Because I don't know, you know the actor Harold Perrineau?
Harold Perrineau.
How do you pronounce his last name?
Harold Perrineau.
Perrineau.
Yeah. Perrineau.
I'm not going to keep saying his name.
All right. Well, I said it
You
as
said
many
it.
times.
Great.
Yeah, continue.
So his response:
Oh, he responded. Oh, he's usually good at this.
"Shut your fucking mouth." After introducing 2 teenage girls to 35-year-old Mary Miller and lying right to my face that night, nobody wants to hear from you. The safety of black women has never been important to you. And now, I don't know if you knew this, but Harold's daughter, she, and I don't know the other, there was a couple other young women who accused, and I believe went to court against Murray Miller, who was a showrunner on that show or producer or something, but for sexual assault on them. And so
I didn't know who it was, but that's why he was so outspoken
during
against,
Me Too.
Yeah, during Me Too.
Yeah, and it was like a whole thing. I remember when it came out that it was his daughter, that she had the situation. But I was like, thank you, Harold, for coming up and saying what needed to be said, because I'm sick of black men just coming online saying sort of bullshit and expecting us to cape for them. And there were some like black women who were like retweeting Jeremy, like everyone, what did they tweet? The marginalized, the marginalized. And I was like, what?
What do you mean?
I don't even know what that sentence meant, but it sounded dumb. And I was very confused. Like, why are you caping for Lena Dunham over anything? Nobody's talking about her. She's a rich, wealthy white woman.
When was the last time she did anything?
I have no clue.
Of note.
I don't want to watch it. I remember watching her for one of her first movies, Tiny Furniture, and it was literally the most boring fucking thing I've ever watched. And I was like hate watching it at a certain point because it was just like, I don't feel like moving to go get the remote, but it was like I was glued to my bed, and I just was thinking to myself, this is such a fucking shitty movie.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe that anybody has given this woman
any sort of
any
money,
amount of money,
time, energy
to do anything, because she's
bullshit.
terrible.
Yeah.
And I just like, that was what made me annoyed, but then made me happy.
Okay.
And now we can do
Go with the green.
I'm the baby merchant. Tots are us. I give you all the service and no damn fuss. Give the baby merchant just a week or two. I'll have your baby for you.
Okay.
I love this new pitched up version of the Baby Merchant.
Me too. Like, one, we're not gonna get in trouble, and two, it's always, you know what, high pitched stuff is fun. That's why fucking Alvin and the Chipmunks lasted as long as it fucking did. You know what I mean? Do you want to go first this time, since you already segued into the things that made you happy? You were already on the page of talking about happy stuff.
I do. Okay, well, you have actually my first thing that made me happy.
What?
Check your text messages.
Yes, you're absolutely right. My apologies. You're absolutely right. So go ahead. If you could just go ahead and set this up while I get this ready.
So Senator Rand Paul was quizzing or speaking to Dr. Fauci about the variants and the death rates, and just like he was basically asking him or accusing him of lying about just different information. And this was Dr. Fauci's response.
Senator Paul, I have never lied before the Congress, and I do not retract that statement. This paper that you are referring to was judged by qualified staff up and down the chain as not being gain of function. Let me finish. And Senator Paul, you do not know what you are talking about, quite frankly. And I want to say that officially. You do not know what you are talking about. And if anybody is lying here, Senator, it is you. Senator Paul, I am
okay. Boy, oh boy. So first and foremost, to Black Twitter, keep putting everything to the ether beat.
I love it.
Thank you.
I love it.
That was fantastic.
I feel like, so when I first watched it and I heard him say, you know, Senator Paul, if there's anybody lying, it is you.
It is you.
I was already happy. And then when I heard it on the ether beat, it just made me really, really happy.
Yeah.
So that was great. What else made me happy this week? I feel like I had something else. What else made me happy?
You want me to jump in?
Yeah, you jump in.
While
you
think about it? Okay. Yeah. Well, two things actually made me happy this week and during this time period since the last time I spoke. So two things. One, I had a beach party, much like my birthday party. This was the sort of culmination of like a lot of things. I got to bring a bunch of cross sections of my friends all together in one sitting. Cause like I'm all about like not decompartmentalizing anymore. I'm just like, yo, what you see is what you get. I'm not hiding anything. This is who I am. My friends are dope. My circle is dope. My people love me and I love my people. I want them all to be together in the same fucking space. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I had a beach party, like, and the majority of them, when they were able to get there, were able to like interact with each other, and it was so beautiful to see all the people that I care about like conversing with each other and just like getting to know each other and stuff. And like it's all, you know what it is, it's like when you see like it's essentially, it's like when you have two circles of friends and you bring them together and you're like watching them talk to each other. Yeah, you know, it's like, oh my god, like the sparks are flying, you know what I mean? Yeah. Because you never know, like, if they're gonna vibe with each other. But me, I roll with fucking dope ass. You were there, and I roll with fucking dope ass people, so I know that they would vibe together, and they did, and y'all did, and that made me feel so happy in my heart. The only downside is that one motherfucker didn't show up, and unfortunately, she's the one who wants to meet you the most. But it's okay, because she'll be around for August 14th. And I know that you will not, but don't worry. We'll figure out a time to make that happen, okay? And the second thing is I got a promotion. So there we go. No, just stop.
If you know,
you
know.
I feel
actually,
like
you know what?
work.
That last one actually works. You know why? Because through various, if anybody has been following and tracking the trajectory of things that have been going on in my company and in my department and stuff, you will know that like I got the job, and now it's just a matter of me running with it. I am a little bit apprehensive about training. Like, that's the one thing, because we're going to ultimately bring more agents on internally, and I've never trained anyone before.
You trained me?
I trained you a little bit, but, like, that was only on fraud. I didn't train you on, like, the ins and outs of actually, like, doing the actual job. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you know how to do that.
I know. So that's
You're going to be amazing.
Thank you. That was my only apprehensive, but ultimately, I'm happy, and also I'm happy because this is ultimately going to mean more money. And I love me some money. I want that money. Fuck yes. So I'm excited, and I'm looking forward to doing this job, continuously doing the job, and everything that comes with it. Did you figure out the thing that you were thinking
I don't
of?
know, but I'm just grateful to be here. First, to be doing this podcast. This always makes me happy.
Same here.
And I'm so excited that, I'm excited for life and us being friends and us working together and creating something super dope.
Cheers.
So,
Cheers to us working together. I don't know if the audio is going to pick up on that clink, but the fact that we're still doing this is like a testament to both our rapport, our work ethic, and the fact that we both are invested and believe in this shit. And let's continue to keep doing more of these.
I love it.
I love it. Hey, if you like it, I love it, and I already love it. So there we go. And you love it, and I like it. There we go. All right, so that's everything. And if that's everything, then that's everything, right?
What is going on?
What?
What are these repeating?
Look, man, we already have the title for the podcast. Too much air horns. You notice I didn't do any fucking air horns,
Thank
right?
you.
And I wanted to. I even made sure that there were no air horns.
I appreciate you.
But yeah, if it's okay. But thank you guys for listening, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the show. If you'd like to contact the podcast, you can reach us via email at blackandsnerdypodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram and TikTok at Black and Snurdy Podcast, as well as on Twitter at Black and Snurdy. You can find me, Maurice, on all social media under the handle Licorice is Legit. That's LICORISH is legit.
And you can find me on Instagram. It's ThatsOD_THATSOD.E. And on Twitter, THATSOD_E. And don't forget to like, rate, and subscribe to us. Tune in next time to the Black and Sturdy Podcast, where nerds of a feather flock together.
Remember?
Bye.
Boy.
Not yet.
No, this is keeping it. We're keeping this in. Don't forget to take your meds and your subs and drink water. Bye.
Bye.
I actually want to keep that.